Welcome to Management TV. Today we have with us, and we'll be discussing, a professor of global strategy at the Harvard Business School and the SA Business School, Pankaj Ghemawat. Welcome to Management TV, Pankaj.
Delighted to be here.
More and more, as consumers, we have T-shirts that are manufactured in Southeast Asia, or Argentine shoes that go to the rest of the world. Is that a trend that will continue, or you think that will level off?
Well, I think a lot depends on the overall outlook for protectionism versus free trade. And one of the reasons why I dislike exaggerated statements about the extent of globalization is that I think they feed exactly into the anti-globalization backlash. And I'm very worried about the anti-globalization backlash. So Pew Surveys released a survey about 2 weeks ago suggesting that the U.S. ranked last in 45 countries in terms of the degree of support for free trade.
So at some point, I would question not the desire of certain governments to move to a more protectionist society, but the ability of them to really enforce that.
That reminds me a little bit about what journalists were writing about before World War I. And there was the whole, it would be economically irrational for the parties to go to war because Archduke Franz Ferdinand got shot in Bosnia, which wasn't even a major player at the table. And I think it's important not to confuse economic irrationality with the scope for political action. I do think that we find instances of political idiocy that are strictly unsupported by the economics. The other reason I like looking back to before World War I is that it turns out that not all, but a surprisingly fraction of the indicators that we treat as indicative of much greater globalization today than ever before were actually at similar or higher levels before World War I. For example, if you look at the last few decades of the 19th century and the first decade of the 20th, and look at current account flows or capital flows between the major economies, those were actually higher in the late 19th, early 20th century than they are today.